Hello, my name is Pastor Tory Farina. I'm a co-pastor of a church in Woodbury, Minnesota called Liberty Church, but I'm also a business owner. Periodically, I meet with folks and we have the conversation about how do you do the side hustle along with the ministry? Don't the two get in the way of one another? Well, I think it can, but I think more importantly, we have to look back at how ministry and business has worked together over the years. If you look in the Old Testament, you're going to see many examples of God using people of wealth and means, or prospering people of wealth and means, in order to develop them to carry out His mission and to bring about His promise through all the way into the New Testament. Then you go into the New Testament. And although Jesus did send His disciples out 2 by 2 with nothing but a satchel and sandals and a walking stick, we have many examples of people who were bivocational or co-vocational. But I do know that in my context, there are a lot of positives and some challenges that come with being co-vocational, bivocational, let's just call it the side hustle, in order to make our ministry work. I love business. I really do. I'm a starter. I love chaos. I love creating things from the ground up. I'm one of those weird people that if you say, hey, we need to raise money for a building, I get excited. I am a perfect church planner. I've actually done it 2 times. My first church plant, my wife and I, we were young. We made $32,000 joint family income for that first year. We didn't have any kids. We had very few bills, and we made it work. But this time around, the second church startup that we did, I had 2 other mouths to feed. I was going into a community that was had means and upper middle class and higher education, and their expectation of living standards were hard. I wouldn't have been able to move into the community and pastor in the community that I'm in if I didn't have a side hustle. So I love the fact that my side hustle actually brings more income into my family's life than my church pays me. As a matter of fact, we were able to take 5 pay cuts over the course of the beginning of our church plant down through these past few years, not because I had to, but because I wanted to and I could do it. And with that money, we were able to bring on pastors. We were able to reinvent and do some new creative things in the community. And I was able to expend some really positive entrepreneurial energy in something else. Here's what I found. If I don't have an outlet for my need for chaos, need for creation, need for something new, and I only allow that to be in the church, there are seasons where there are new things, yes. But most of church life is take the hill, then you manage that and you develop that and you create the systems around it. Take the hill, then you manage it, you create systems around it. So then there's a whole lot of my church life as a pastor that if I don't have a side hustle, I get bored. And maybe you're that same way, or maybe you don't know what I'm talking about, but you're intrigued. But let me give you a couple other benefits of the side hustle. I love that when I stand up to my congregation and I talk about giving, I don't talk about giving because I need the money. I love that I get to stand up there and I get to say something like this. This morning, we're going to talk about giving. And I just want you to know that as this church, I get a small stipend in order to be your pastor. But I do that because I have multiple streams of income that God has blessed me with and the ability to do those things. And so I stand here today in front of you, not as somebody who says, please give so I can make more money as a pastor, or please give because our church is just in need. No, I get to stand in front of you today and say, let's do something great for the kingdom. And as a giver, I want you to partner with me in what the church is doing. So giving doesn't change my life at all when you step out in faith and begin to give. But together, I believe giving will change your life because it's changed my life as well. Now, there's some pitfalls, there's some dangers, there's some things that you gotta watch out for, and I wanna talk about best practices. One of the things that I've realized about having a side hustle is that your heart has to be right. Scripture says that the love of money is the root of all evil. We know that, you know that, we've preached on that as leaders, we've studied that. But one of my challenges is it's not just the love of wealth or the pursuit of wealth, that's evil if it's all about gaining money, but it's also when we live in a poverty mindset where we're constantly trying to make ends meet and our thoughts are always on money. Because you want to amass more, or your thoughts are on money because you don't have. Both of those are in this pursuit, this longing, this love of money that might make life easier. And therein lies a challenge for us as leaders, that if that's our love, if that's our pursuit, if that's why we're doing this, then we got it all wrong. Now, I know, you know, we know that sometimes you just gotta make ends meet. That's different. The heart is, does what I do in its entirety fulfill and push forward and put forward ministry? Maybe you've heard of somebody who has a hobby farm. Hobby farm is awesome. Hobby farm is great. Hobby farms are a blast. But hobby farms don't make money. Farming makes money. Farming is all about getting as much yield out of your crops as you can. Hobby farm is all about, I'm having fun. I don't really care if it makes money. Sometimes the risk is that we as leaders who move into a side hustle, the church becomes the hobby. And therein lies a danger. Here's where your heart has to be pure, that you are always giving your best hours to the church. What does that mean? Well, it means that you probably need something flexible. It means that if you pursue some side hustle, that you have hours in your day that you know this is dedicated church time. I like Tuesday through Thursday as my really focused, these are when I do my meetings, this is when I put my best foot forward. Because I'm in a portable church environment, that means Mondays I hate life and I'm a little exhausted, and then Fridays I'm thinking about the weekend and I want to spend time with my family, and so my best church hours and days are Tuesday through Thursday. So I put my best meetings for the church on those days. Well, that means I've got plenty of other time to do my side hustle. My wife and I have several real estate properties. I'm involved in a couple other investment deals, and I'm kind of a behind-the-scenes vice president of a family business. But it's a great opportunity to gain in money, gain a foothold into the community you're in, and to create resources. I stumbled into it. It wasn't necessarily my intention. I was always good at business. In college, I was great at sales, but I wanted to be so focused on the ministry, I didn't want to have anything else keep me from the ministry in our first church plant. Problem was, the market crashed after we bought our house at the peak, and by the time we were ready to leave our small town home, we were $50,000 under. So what do? Well, we decided instead of just giving it to the bank or taking a check of $50,000 I didn't have, what if we moved into the house we wanted to and kept this as a rental? And maybe, just maybe, we would break even. Well, God was in it. And before you knew it, we were making over $575 a month in extra income that we didn't do much work for. So if you think about that, let's just say you get a $6,000 raise. What would it take in your church budget to get a $6,000 raise? Well, this is out of the church budget that now came into our family, and it was a blessing. The attitude is that does what I do further the kingdom of God that I'm in. One of the things that I want to challenge you in is to make sure that there's a separation between your church and the side hustle. And here's what I mean. I don't look for renters in my church. I don't really want to be a pastor and a landlord. If I'm a landlord, I have to make decisions that as a pastor, I might have more grace over. Some of us, the businesses, you can't get into real estate. And so maybe you do a multi-level marketing, or maybe you do a sales thing, or you're selling Cutco or Mary Kay, or you name it. And I have no problem with those businesses. I actually think they're great businesses. My problem is if you begin to look at the church as your customer base. That's scary to me. Because at what point are they going to be confused between, are they trying to sell me something or present the gospel to me? Is there something they want from me, or is there truly an honest, I love you and I want to say this to you with honesty? And that conflict we can't have in the ministry. I can't have that. And so if you are using or looking to your church to support your business, that, to me, that's a problem. But your business should always be a way to support the church. For me and my house, what we've decided is I'm not going to borrow money from the church. I'm not going to, or from the church. or from a business person in the church, and I'm going to really be careful about opportunities that I jump into with church members, because I want my relationship to be the pastor. I don't want my relationship to be partner or boss or something else. It's important in our heart of hearts to make sure that when we see a side hustle, we see it as a great opportunity to bring light to dark places and to pull them into ministry. So some of my friends have done some creative things. I've got a friend who drives Uber because he wants to have those powerful conversations that you have in a car with a perfect stranger when they're tired and alone and have nothing else to do. I have another friend who does hair. I have another friend who has worked with consulting and has used their marketing abilities to teach and to train the businesses in the community with what they know. It's a powerful opportunity to look at what could you do and how could that benefit the church. So now you're wondering, how do I do this, Tory? I would love to make a little extra coin. You need to pray. You need to ask the Lord what it is He has for you. Because if the Lord speaks to you, which He did to my friend just last month, and the friend was trying to plant this church, he didn't have a job, and he was struggling, and he was working just little odds and ends to make it work, and he went to the Lord in prayer, and the Lord said, I want you to work on the church, and let me provide the rest. When he told me that, I said, good. Do it, and do not deviate from that until the Lord releases you, because I want the Lord's blessing in my life, and I want the Lord's blessing for your life. His wife heard that and she said, you know, I feel like the Lord's been stirring in my heart that I could go get a job. And he said, but baby, I'm the husband, I need to provide. And she said, baby, this is the ministry and my opportunity to provide. That's a powerful moment where a couple is in agreement, which is another important thing. Are you in agreement with your spouse with what you're doing? Are you in agreement with the money you're putting up for risk? Are you in agreement with the time and schedule that you have? If you're working 80 hours a week for the church and 80 hours a week for a business and you've got nothing left for sleep or your family or your real ministry, that's a problem. And so you need to have unity with your wife or your husband. You need to have unity in what you feel like you can do and what you feel like you should do with the Lord. But you also, I think, shouldn't do this in secret. And what do I mean by that? I think your church board should know and make sure that they're okay with it. They may look at you and go, well, why wouldn't we give you more money instead? And that might solve the problem. Or you might be able to explain, this is a great opportunity for me to work out some of my giftings outside and as a gateway for people to come into the church. And they may go, then let me bless you and give you more time. But they need to know what's going on. And I think your church itself should know. We don't want to be in secret. We don't want to be hiding. I don't want you to be making money and being able to go on a vacation that you normally wouldn't afford, or to feel like, man, is my tithe going to that new car they bought or that new house they're living in? I'm confused. We just don't want people walking around confused. And so while we may not flaunt things, we don't have to post everything on Facebook and all the rest. We can let them in our world to a degree that allows them explanation for the life we're living. Now here's the thing. I know some of you, this is a hard thing. Because you look at it and you go, man, I got called to ministry and now you're talking about business. How does this work? I'm not sure that there's quite as distinctive of a line as we would like there to be when I look at Scripture. And I think that if we have an honest heart to the Lord with what we're doing, and I think if we make sure that everything we do supports the ministry as a whole, and also if we have prayed and sought God and feel blessing, then we're going to see opportunities and we're going to see moments where we should seize it and walk forward in it. My brother-in-law needed to move houses. I told him, I said, man, you're never going to find a cheaper mortgage than you have right now. Why don't you keep your house, rent it out? The market there is hot, and it will help you get a raise. He wasn't so sure. It's a lot of work. I said, we're going to spend the same amount of energy getting your house ready to sell as we would to rent. Now you know all the problems that are there. I'd much rather have that knowledge. He said, okay, let's try it. If we can get a renter that'll pay this amount, it'll work. Within 2 weeks, they found a renter to pay exactly that amount. And do you know what the renter said to them? Do you mind if we pay 4 months in advance? I said, dude, this is incredible. And now I'm the best brother-in-law ever. And here's the thing. Sometimes we as pastors and people around us feel like a pastor should sacrifice. And sometimes there's an attitude that if you're going to be a pastor and you're going to be sacrificing, then really you should be the poorest one, or you should be the one who makes the least amount, or you should really just sacrifice for the ministry. Yes, as a pastor, I'm called to sacrifice. But I believe that if we think that that means that I shouldn't use my gifts and God-given talents to turn something into a resource that God can use, then I'm misallocating my gifts. And if that means that I have more resource to go do things with my family, or to give, or to take less from the church so we can hire people or do other things, then you know what? I don't know what to say about that. Because I believe in my heart of hearts, and you need to believe in your heart of hearts, that if you have a side hustle, it's for the glory of God, and it's for the extension of the kingdom of God. And if at any point it's for your glory, or for your comfort outside of your basic needs, then I think there's a tension that you need to figure out. So today, I want to challenge you. If you're in a side hustle, make sure it's in alignment with your family, with your spouse, with your church, and with your mission. If you're not in a side hustle and you want to get in one, look for what opportunities God has, because He'll reveal one for you very soon. And don't be afraid to take some risks.